Hello, I'm John Shepherd, and in this short video we're going to take a look at ways in which you can improve your takeoff and develop greater leg strength for both the long jump and the triple jump. Have you ever wondered why certain jumpers like Cuba's Juan Miguel Echeverria are able to get more height at the takeoff? Well, so have I. So I looked into it and began to think about the eccentric aspect of the takeoff. That's the absorbent capacity of the jumper's leg muscles to withstand the force and then return it quickly and powerfully into the jump. At the point of takeoff, the muscles of the ankle, knee and hip will go on stretch. That's the eccentric action. They will then recoil into a concentric action to propel the jumper, in this case, upwards and forwards into the jump. In previous videos, I've talked about the horizontal and vertical velocity components of the takeoff. The greater the vertical component, the greater the height and therefore the lift off of the board. However, you don't want to actually jump for height, otherwise this will slow you down and you'll spend too much time on the board. So, in thinking about it, it began to dawn on me that the capacity of the jumper's legs to store and return energy on the point of takeoff, and this also applies for the triple jump, is crucial to getting that lift off of the board. Almost if we could train the leg muscles to be able to generate the height and the vertical velocity without trying. Also, I began to look more into the work of Brazilian coach Nelia Moura, who's coached, for example, Irvin Saladino and Maureen Maggie, two 2008 Olympic gold medals in the long jump. And he's very keen on using eccentric strength development exercises in an attempt to improve the takeoff. And here's an example on screen now. Basically, the elastic cord pulls the jumper more quickly out of the landing on each jump. That's the amortization phase, where the muscles go from the eccentric to the concentric action in the stretch reflex. Just for clarity, when you perform any plyometric activity, the muscles of the ankle, knee and hip will go on stretch, forming that eccentric action. There will be a split second in which they then recoil to propel the jumper through a concentric action upwards or forwards. Okay, not many of us will have the type of apparatus that Nelia has out in Brazil. However, as he also indicates in his book, there are other ways to develop this eccentric capacity, for example using platforms as you're seeing on screen now. This triple jump one is also a good technical drill, in that its aim is also to facilitate the jumper in thinking about getting higher between each phase. In reality, the hips tend to drop throughout the phases in the triple jump, but the drill, as you can see, by the nature of its format, encourages the jumper to keep getting higher through the phases. Speaking of the hips and getting higher through the phases, the drill also encourages stiffer takeoff. The greater the stiffness in the legs, the greater that eccentric absorption capability, the less time will be required to transfer across the takeoff or the landings in the various phases in the triple jump. We've been using this one platform drill with a platform placed for the penultimate step a lot recently in an attempt to improve the takeoff for the long jump. So the jumper comes off of the platform, performs a normal takeoff. They don't try to go for height. The objective is to create the greater capacity in the leg muscles to do so. And it does seem to be working with a transference into jumping from the flat, i.e. without the use of the platform. We do vary the height of the box used or the takeoff platform. This one is about 20 centimeters high, but we also use a low gymnastics mat which is only a couple of centimeters high. A coaching point: when you transfer across the mats or the box, do not try to go for height. Try to minimize the drop of the hips off of the platform and into the takeoff. In doing this, for the long jump, you'll maximize your speed across the board, and it is, to be honest, a similar case with the triple jump as well. There are numerous drills that you can use to develop this eccentric capacity using platforms. Here's Jonathan performing 2 steps and a jump from a 15 centimetre high platform. It takes confidence and relevant conditioning in order to be able to withstand the forces involved, and on this particular effort you'll see Jonathan doesn't quite move quickly enough out of the first contact, and there's a noticeable buckle. However, look at the height that he's generated, which is probably too great, and there you see a slight buckling. Nevertheless, he manages to get out of it and just about get into the jump. Ideally, you want to come in fast off of 8 to 12 steps. Really go for it in an attempt to develop this greater capacity to withstand and transfer from the landing from the forces involved. Now, there are a number of other types of drills that you can also do, such as 2 steps going from a low platform to a higher platform, or a step off into another step. And triple jumpers can isolate their jump phase by using a box on the penultimate step. Particularly for the triple jumper, it's important to make sure that their jump leg is as strong or nearly as strong as their hopping and stepping leg, and performing jumps and other eccentric capacity exercises using various height platforms will facilitate this specific strength requirement. If you've been following the channel more regularly, you'll know that we've been using more types of eccentric, plyometric, height developing exercises in our training. And I made a video in terms of getting ready for the outdoor season which mentioned those, but here are some on screen now, and you can see that by having to get up onto the mats, the jumper has to lift themselves more out of the takeoff positions. But having said that, we still do our normal quick reaction plyometrics and always emphasize forward movements as well. I believe it's always important to vary the types of the plyometric exercises that you do. So think about the angle of the knee at contact using a stiffer leg for some, for example. Also jump and block some of the landings to get a pure eccentric isometric contact, and of course include the eccentric emphasis types of jumps which I've been talking about in this particular video. In doing so, with all these options, hopefully you should be able to absorb, react, jump further, and particularly in the case of the long jump, get that greater height and therefore distance off of the takeoff. Hopefully this overview of how to train to improve your takeoff and force absorption and reaction using eccentric exercises will help you and your jumping. Do leave any comments you may have in the section below the video or through my other social media. And of course, good luck with your training and competitions. Set, go! I've had the FREELAP timing system for a number of months now, and I've been putting it to the test. If you'd like to find out more about it and potentially purchase a system, then do contact me directly, but here's some information. The system is extremely portable and accurate to 2/1000ths of a second. You no longer need to take up 3 lanes to time your athletes. Place the TX Junior Pro transmitters down on trackside, set up the app on your iPhone or phone or tablet, and you're ready to go. The FX chip BLE attaches to the waist of the athlete, and that's what sends the time to the receivers. It's simple and effective. It's been a great motivator and way to compare performances across the training year, not only between our athletes but with norms established by other jumpers, for example. We can now really see how fast we are.